My daughter's... Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel for all things mommy, wife, and life. My name is Chessa. Let me just start this video off right by saying a few very important words right off the bat. Poop, pee-pee, potty, undies. Did I say poop? Because poop. You are going to hear a lot of that in today's video. Why? Because we are potty training, baby. Whoop, whoop. All right, we're potty training my baby, but I'm sure this could help you too. Before we get into this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead, I'll wait. All right, let's get into this. I'm gonna make this first step, step 0, since you're technically already doing what it entails, and that's research. I started off my daughter's potty training journey by researching and listening to audiobooks. I listened to the book Oh Crap from Audible, not sponsored, but why aren't you sponsoring me, Audible? I listened to the book Oh Crap by Jamie Glowacki. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And she gave me a lot of great tips in her book, and I just kind of took that with a grain of salt and then implemented it into my own potty training routine, which I encourage you guys to do with this video as well. Some of her tips are going to be sprinkled around this video, but I highly suggest that you read her book. Step 0.5 is prep work. I suggest that the night before you start potty training, you get all of these supplies around if you don't already have them. All of these are technically optional. Please don't think that you need all of these supplies to be successful at potty training, because you really don't. Really, all you need is patience and a toilet, which every house already has, I would think and hope. A potty chair insert. If you're going to buy anything, buy this. This is what ultimately got my daughter to sit on the potty, because quick story time, my daughter was kind of a little bit afraid of the toilet going forward with this process, because once when I was just kind of playing around with the whole potty training thing, I sat her on the toilet, and because I wasn't vigilant, she kind of sunk right into the toilet. Is that enough of a visual for you? My daughter fell into the toilet and she was kind of traumatized for a little bit. This is what ultimately got her to sit on the toilet and actually go. There's so many other seats out there, but definitely get this. You'll thank me later. Pull-ups. These are of course optional, and the book does not recommend that you use these. We use pull-ups for outside of the house, not daycare, just for our sanity and peace of mind. Puppy potty pads. Now stick with me here. I know what you're thinking. My kid is not a dog. I'm not gonna train her to go on the floor. This is not for the floor, but I do recommend these for the high chair, for the car seat if you're not using pull-ups, for just sitting on your lap, because I'll get into the whole commando thing in a second, but your kid's gonna be running around with no pants on, and you might want something to sit on your lap so that you can avoid a puddle. I even put these underneath the sheets in their bed, so that way cleanup is a breeze. Flushable wipes. You are going to want these when your child goes poop, trust me. Underwear. I loathe the P word, so we're not gonna use it. It's kind of like the word moist. Just cringes me. These are definitely optional for the first month. The book suggests that you do not use them until the 1 month after this potty training, just because we have muscle memory down there, and when you put underwear on, it kind of triggers that muscle memory, kind of the same thing as pull-ups. It has that same muscle memory effect, so they feel like they're wearing a diaper still, and they're more likely to have accidents when they're wearing them. So she suggests going commando. I'll get into that in a little bit, but underwear are optional if the whole commando thing freaks you out. 2-piece pajamas. These definitely make trips to the potty at night a lot easier. A car potty, because public restrooms are nasty. And to finish the prep work, you definitely want to have a mop and a bucket all ready to go the day of that you start potty training. Have plenty of indoor activities planned, like coloring, painting, puzzles. You get the idea. This next one is a little bit controversial, but if you want to reward your child for going to the bathroom with either little pieces of candy or small toys, stamps even, that's what our daycare uses. We actually used mini marshmallows. If you have throw rugs, roll up your carpets. You'll thank me later. And the last one is probably the most important one, but clear your schedule. You are not going to be going anywhere for these 3 days, maybe even longer. All right, that brings us into step 1, and that's go nude, or at least go bottomless. We chose to go bottomless. In the book, she explains that she wants the kids to be fully nude, and then the next step is to add the top half of the clothing, or even like a dress for a girl. But we thought we'd kind of streamline this process a little bit more, and plus it was really cold, so we didn't want our daughter to be really chilly. So the day of potty training, we woke her up and we said,
"Guess what, Emma? Today you're a big girl. We're not gonna go in the diapers anymore. We're gonna go on the potty like a big girl."
We just kind of explained that to her, and so that from this point on, just take off the diaper and start your day normally. I actually waited to do this step until after breakfast, just because my daughter likes to eat first thing in the morning, and when I'm preparing her breakfast, I didn't have time to actually watch her to see if she goes potty. I didn't want her to be unsuccessful right from the get-go, so I waited until after breakfast to remove the diaper and pants. So at breakfast, I gave her a juice box, something I normally do not do, but we're aiming to have them be a little bit more liquidated so that way they have more practice going pee-pee in the potty. And literally, I would just let her play and I would just watch her vigilantly. As soon as she started peeing, I would say,
"Uh-oh, you're peeing. Let's go put you on the potty."
And so we'd take her, put her on the potty, and basically I just waited until she peed. As soon as she did pee on the floor, because obviously she didn't make it into the potty on the first try, I said,
"Uh-oh, you peed on the floor. The pee-pee goes in the potty."
I would show her where the potty is and where the pee-pee goes, and I would say, "You're a big girl now, sweetie. This is where your pee-pee goes. It doesn't go on the floor." And then I would quiz her, "Where's the pee-pee? Where does it go?" And she'd say, "Oh, it goes on the floor." And I'd say, "No, sweetie, your pee-pee goes in the potty." And then I would just keep quizzing her. And then eventually she would say,
"In the potty."
So then I would clean her up and take the mop and bucket and start cleaning up. This is where that comes in handy, already prepared. And then you start over. Essentially, you want to get from the "I peed" to "I'm peeing" to "I need to go pee." And that's what the book explains, that you want to have these 3 mental realizations for your child. So you're just going to keep doing this, and then you're going to look for their cues, because every child has a little cue that they have to go to the bathroom. So this one's really important. You want to prompt, but don't over prompt. The more over prompting that you do, the more they're gonna make a big deal about it and know that they have the power over you on this potty thing. You kind of have to act like you don't even care about it, even though you're freaking out inside that they're peeing on the floor. You never wanna ask if they have to go potty, because the answer is going to be no, almost always. "Emma, let's go sit on the potty."
No.
"Okay, you don't have to go potty right now, but you need to let me know when you do so we can sit you on the potty. I'll check back with you in a little bit." That seems really corny to say, but seriously, that's kind of how you want to word it. But once they kind of get this down, and they will, and if they don't right away, it's okay, they'll get it. But the next step is to reintroduce bottoms. The book suggests commando underneath the bottoms just because of that muscle memory thing that I mentioned before. If you are super uncomfortable with this, go ahead and use the underwear. Step 3 is they should be taking themselves, or at least telling you that they have to go potty. You can move on to underwear at this point if you haven't already. If they were doing really well in step 1, but then started reverting back to accidents once you reintroduce the bottoms, then I suggest taking them back to bottomless and really make sure you enforce these steps before you add the pants again. 1 or 2 accidents is not a big deal. If you're getting into 3 accidents or more in a day, then I would definitely revert back to going bottomless. So poop. 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 I don't know why, but for some reason kids have a way harder time with poop than with pee. I don't know if it's just because it's harder to come out, it's more uncomfortable just because they've used to been going in the diaper for so long. I don't know. But with my daughter, poop was a little bit harder. She would keep saying like,
"Oh, potty, potty."
And so I'd rush her to the potty. She'd sit on there and she'd be like,
No, I don't have to go.
For the first week, this would happen so often and it was so frustrating for me. I don't know about for her, but it was super frustrating for me because I'd have to like literally drop everything because I don't know if it's gonna be number 1 or number 2. So I'd run her to the potty, she'd sit on there for 2 seconds and then she'd be like, no. Ugh. It was just so frustrating. So I don't know what it is about the tub, but my daughter would always say, "Oh, potty, potty," while she was in the tub, or she'd like make that like face like she's ready to push. And so I would take her literally out of the tub or wherever she's at and I'd pop her on the toilet and then she would go. But for some reason, poop is just... All right, here's a little quick Q&A. A toddler potty, yay or nay? I say nay. Honestly, I think I was more excited for this little tiny toddler potty than my daughter was. She never used it. Oh, no, I take that back. She used it as a toy for her dolls, which was actually kind of nice because then she didn't stick her dolls in the actual potty, so maybe it was worth it in the end, but I suggest don't do it. If you really want it, please take mine. I want it out of my house. It's just sitting there gathering dust. It's never been soiled and she's never used it. So if you want it, surprise giveaway. Message me on Instagram, leave a comment down below, and I'll get in touch with you because honestly, I want it out of my house. I say just skip this step and get that potty seat that goes right over the potty. They are cheaper, more sanitary, and you don't even have to clean up after them. And if you insist on getting a potty, I suggest even getting the travel potty that you can set in your car, because then you don't have to worry about trying to find a bathroom when you're out and about. You can just have this potty in your car, and it's especially great for long road trips because when they say they have to go, they have to go. Holding it isn't really an option yet. I'd much rather have this potty in the car than using a public toilet seat. Rewards? I use rewards, but the book highly suggests that you don't use rewards, that my daycare uses like little stamps as rewards, and she seems to like that, but my daughter's really sugar driven and this actually helped. I think it worked. We just gave her one tiny little mini marshmallow and it still works. And we're kind of at the process of phasing out the treats and she doesn't really get them anymore. So you can do little tiny toys from the dollar store or stickers, just something that they would just really reward them even for going like for their first poop. I would suggest getting some kind of little reward because that's going to really reinforce it. How did you know that she was ready? I think daycare was a really big enforcer here because she would see all the other kids going potty and she just kind of got that in her brain. And literally one day she came home and said, "Mommy, potty." And just for the hell of it, I was like, okay, let's go potty, sweetie. I sat her on there and sure enough, she just went. I was like blown away. I'm like, what? At this point, I was just like over the moon. And to be honest, we should have started there, but I honestly wasn't mentally prepared for this. I didn't want to start it off and have her something go wrong. So I didn't, because I didn't do research at this point. I just like was like, okay, let's go sit you on the potty. And she went. I didn't have any research done at this point. I waited until I had like a long weekend or some time off that I can really just dedicate to this process. Literally everybody that I mentioned to that I wanted to start potty training with her at this age, they were like, oh, she's too young. You know your child best. And I really just suggest that you just do you. Like, the more people you tell, the more discouraging it's gonna be. So I just suggest you don't tell anybody, you just do you and see where it goes. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it works out, great. And with all of these cues that I was seeing from her, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna do this, and to hell with everybody, because if I would have let them dictate it, she'd still be in diapers at this point. And I know that she was well capable of going potty on her own. Don't let little Lucy down the street tell you what's good for your child. You do you. Also, to add to this, there is no shame in waiting to potty train. If you don't think that your child is ready, don't force it on them, because I feel like if you force it on them, it's just gonna lead to roadblocks. No one cares if your child isn't potty trained, and don't try to like live up to the Joneses next door. Oh, I potty trained my daughter at 6 months. Like, it's not a race. It's totally fine if you wait a little bit longer to potty train. And I'll tell you what, it's much less stressful to not to potty train and just to use diapers. So boys versus girls. Honestly, I don't have a little boy, so I can't attest to who is easier to potty train, but I will say that the book said that boys aren't necessarily harder to potty train, they just can't aim yet. The book suggests to have your little boy sit while peeing indefinitely until you think that he's old enough and tall enough to aim. Nap time and nighttime. We use pull-ups for nighttime and nap time just for now. Sometimes there'll be a little accident in there in the morning, sometimes there won't be. It'll be dry when she wakes up. We just use pull-ups right now, but I think we're gonna start phasing those out soon. We just use this as a precaution and honestly our sanity and peace of mind. If you're out and about and you don't really want to backtrack on the whole potty training process and you don't want to put a pull-up on them, I got this tip from Jordan Cheyenne, and she said put their underwear on first and then put the pull-up on top of the underwear, so that way if they go, they'll have a little accident in the underwear and it'll still feel uncomfortable for them and they're still learning, but you don't have the big mess because you have to pull up on underneath. I think that's a great tip and I would go with it. And that's everything for this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I hope this was helpful for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and hit that bell notification so you can be informed for all future videos. I post every Sunday at 7 p.m. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.